You know what? Y'all may think I am very mad about this and that we are, falling off of a cliff, which we are. We're bad. But this is the best case scenario for the future of the Tennessee Titans. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I'm your host, Micah McCamey. And yeah, no, the Titans are bad. We had kind of confirmed that last week whenever we got crushed by the Bucks, who had been on a big losing streak. But yeah, no, we're bad. But that is okay because here's the thing. This was the exact loss that you would want as a Titans fan. Maybe not exactly. I mean, we could have wished for something that wasn't a blowout, but like this is exactly what we needed. Like a loss where Will Levis shows potential, and yeah, I mean that's basically that's all that I want for the rest of the year. I know that we're gonna be bad, so bury ourselves into the ground and know that Will Levis is, decent. Gosh, I still see people thinking that we still need to try out Malik. I don't know who those people are, but just so you know, whenever it comes to the Titans, you're a load of idiots. Or you just really love that Malik's a good person off the field. I'm not too sure. But anywho, so yeah. I'm gonna do the 2.5 to 3 minute section, but I'm barely gonna talk about the Vols because there's not a lot of things to talk about whenever it comes to the Vols. Like the Vols are also not that great. I mean, they're gonna go 8-4, which that's still a fine record, but like I was expecting like 9 wins, maybe squeeze out 10 wins, honestly. But gosh, yeah, no. I what happened? Like, no, not what happened to the team. What happened to you, Joe Milton? Where's that Orange Bowl Joe Milton that I saw? Like, where was week one Joe Milton? I know that still wasn't amazing, but still, like, where was that Joe Milton? He's just not been good all year, and he is. Let me tell you, I'm saying that he's the biggest problem. There are a lot of problems with our roster right now, like the secondary. D line doesn't get as much pressure. James Pierce is good, but apart from that, there's not really that much else. But like, dude, it's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, rambling aside, oh yeah, also, to those people that said that Joe Milton wasn't a problem, I think that game should show you that he was. But anyway, so moving on, um, so something else is happening. I'm gonna be in a championship game, not as in like me playing, football or anything. I've mentioned this before. I record film for our high school football team, and um, we just won the semifinals for our region, and we are going to the state championship. Now, I am through the moon about that because I've also heard that I may end up getting a ring. I'm not too sure though, but you know, if we do end up winning, you know, I think that we are gonna win. I think we're gonna do great, and we're gonna come out with the dub. But we're gonna have to see what happens. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that we're gonna win. But anyway, um, you know, I'm really excited about that. Honestly, get to see what happens there. We have a great running back, and yeah. So anyway, moving on. Now we're gonna get into the talk of the Titans. That was actually the original name of this, but it was too much of a mouthful. But anyway, so if you did listen to that, thank you. And if you didn't, we're talking about the Titans right now. So, just so you know. Anywho, so going into this game, I thought that we were going to get the doors just blown off of us. And yes, that's exactly what happened. But here's the thing: when not Joe Milton, when Will Levis had time in the pocket, he made good throws. He threw it deep. He was able to find his receivers open. but he barely had any of that. Like he was only able to throw like 17 times because of how bad the offensive line was. Like I want to see how he can do under pressure, but I don't want to see how he can do with 1 second in the pocket. You know, like we've got to draft an offensive lineman at the draft. Actually, I have an idea for what we're going to do at the draft, but for what we could do at the draft, but I'm going to, move that in. I'm going to move that forward to later on in the episode. But okay, so Jeffrey Simmons caught a touchdown. That was probably the best part of this entire game for Titans fans, at least. Hey, I mean, I had Calvin Ridley on a fantasy football team, so shoot, I ain't complaining. But no, seriously, that was painful to watch. We also need a cornerback, like someone else that could potentially be okay, at least in the first string. But yeah, bad loss. There's not too much to say. I mean, there were some positives, like obviously Will Levis continues to be solid. Chris Moore played amazing. D Hop had some plays. This was honestly kind of a W day for Tim Kelly. It's just that the O line was so bad that we didn't get to see some of the other stuff that he had drawn up. But like, yeah, obviously Jeffrey Simmons, was a force in stopping the run, and he he also caught a touchdown. So W for Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah, Ryan Stonehouse had one of those uncharacteristic off games. Like he shanked a punt out of bounds to like the 30 yards. Like that's very uncharacteristic of him. He'll be back next week though. I know that, especially since we played at Carolina Panthers. That's going to be the one game that we win this year. I just know it. That's going to be the one game that we win for the second half of the season. So like yeah, I mean, like, there's not too much else I could have asked for out of this game, except for maybe at least it be a little bit more close. Like, oh gosh, yeah, no. Trevor Lawrence is good, and I'm really afraid of the Texans now. They're on a hot streak, CJ Stroud looks great, which I thought that was going to be the only reason that we could get out of there with a win because our defensive schemes are always so complicated for rookie quarterbacks. But now those schemes cannot shine because of how bad the secondary is. But yeah, we need one corner, just one that could at least be serviceable as a cornerback one. Because I think Christian Fulton, as much as I hate him, I think he could be solid as a cornerback too. And then cornerback 3, Sean Murphy Bunting, that's also pretty good. Or you could just straight up bench. You could straight up bench Christian Fulton, put Sean Murphy Bunting, and whatever his name is. Why can't I not remember? No, not a specific name, but just a corner, and then keep McCreary in the slot. Like that's perfect. Like that's a good cornerback lineup. Right? And we also need to replace Nico Autry. Like not as in like straight up replace him, but like get someone that could that could play a majority of the snaps and let him play like I don't know, like he would come in like every he would come in like one down a series or something like that. Like that's just the perfect role for him. But yeah, so there's that because we need a pass rushing force. Harold Landry can sometimes be a pass rushing force, so he's starting to bounce back, so that's good. One of the only good things that John Robinson did was extend Harold Landry, so that's nice. But anyway, so yeah, Harold Landry's starting to bounce back. That's another W of that day. Like he had a couple of good tackles if I remember correctly. But yeah, get a new cornerback, get a pass rusher, and maybe get like one offensive lineman and a receiver. Okay, so we're almost at the halfway point of this episode, so I want to dive into what I think that we should do at the draft. I think we need to go all in on this draft. I think that there's so much talent in this draft that it's kind of ridiculous. I feel like that first off, we got to go get an offensive lineman. That's what we should. That's the first thing that we should do. Very obviously. And I know that it's a bad idea to just completely go all in on one draft, but I know I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm comparing us to the Texans. Look at the Texans. They went all in on this draft. They've got C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. Both of them had big games yesterday. Well, at least C.J. Stroud did for like one half. But no, seriously. Then Will Anderson also had a big day yesterday. Like there are their players, the players that they drafted were the reason that they are 2 games above 500 now. Like that's why I think that we should go after uh what's his name? Why can I not remember his name? That's the reason I think that we should go all in on this draft. If we go 5-12, we're probably going to have like a top 8, top potentially top 5 pick. So like we go get an offensive line. We trade up and we go get, and I believe that we should trade up and go get Marvin Harrison Jr. And then I think that we should offer up some of the big boys, like go offer up like Derrick Henry, if there's any potential chance where we could maybe re-sign Derrick Henry or something and then use him as trade bait. Oh no, we could put D Hop into that trade. No, that would be a bad idea. No, I'm trying to think this out to where we can make this work, but I would like to go get another first round pick, and go get an offensive lineman. Like I think that is a great I think that is a good scenario. I'm just not too sure how we would do it, but I feel like that is an idea. Like maybe trade another third, trade a third, future first. Let me try to think of something else that we could get. Or that we could give up at least. We could give up a we could give up a very valuable weapon, someone like a Harold Landry, because we're in for a rebuild. So why not just go all in on trying to get an offensive players to develop into the future? That's just my personal opinion at least. But anyway, so yeah, and then the second round, maybe go for another receiver or something like that. Or no, wait a minute, no, go for a tight end, and then fourth round. My opinion, this may be me being a very a very biased Vols fan here. Let's go get Cooper Mays, okay? Aaron Brewer has been wildly inconsistent as a center, so we need to get someone that can at least hold down the center position. So Cooper Mays is my center, all right? He is the guy, at least in my opinion. Or he should be the guy, at least. I just feel like that would be so perfect, I feel like that would be a match made up in heaven, with Vrabel and Cooper Mays and Will Levis, the captains of the offense and the captain of the entire team. That's a perfect fit, because all three of them are kind of gritty. So, anyway, but imagine that a new left tackle, put Cooper Mays in there, and then have Marvin Harrison Jr. I know it's such a long shot. I know. I know. It's such it's so out of range that I'm not too sure if we would honestly go for it, but that would be the dream scenario. But if we don't play the aggressor, I think that we should draft an offensive lineman, go get a receiver in the second round, maybe an offensive, maybe get a right tackle and an experimental right tackle in the third, and then in the fourth go get Cooper Mays, obviously. Then the last three, actually no, in the third, not an experimental offensive lineman. We need a defensive back in the third, and then the fourth go get Cooper Mays if he's still available. Then the fifth round, just after that, I really don't care. It's just depth. That's all that those positions are. Depth or high upside players that did not show enough in college to be top end picks. That's basically what that's basically what the third. That's what the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh is more like backups. Like people that could come in and keep it afloat. But anyway, um, so let's talk about um, let's talk about next week. So the Panthers. I kind of hope that we win this game, just so that way Will Levis can show that he was, because like there was a rumor going around that Will Levis was going to go to the Panthers at number 1. So like, maybe he could go in there and try and prove like, hey, I was supposed to be your guy. I mean, obviously, like, who knows? Bryce Young may end up being the best quarterback out of this draft. We just don't know it yet. But like, I would absolutely love for Will Levis to have one of those games. Like, why not me? And just torch the Panthers defense. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Maybe not. But you know, if we win the game, I won't be upset. If we lose the game, I won't be upset. I am in a very neutral feeling about this team right now. Like, I want to lose. Like, I would be okay with losing against bad teams because that gives us better draft capital. But if we win against worse teams, that shows that we have potential to be a little bit better next year if we spend all the money and get an offensive lineman in the draft. So I every week from here on out is a win-win as long as we don't get completely crushed by a bad team. Like every week from here on out, if we win or lose, to me is a win-win. But yeah, so you know, we gotta lock up Bryce Young. Okay, we gotta confuse him a little bit. Throw some schemes at him that like some. I think that it was like a disguised zone coverage that he struggled with in college. We gotta throw that stuff at him. You know. Oh yeah. Also, I saw this dude on the internet that said that Bryce Young had never had a bad game in college. That's a load of bull crap. I just want to let that be known right now. And to anyone who does think that, what are you thinking? Like, Bryce Young, like, he was a great player in college. Don't get me wrong. Okay? He was amazing. But, like, are we not. I know that he was down 2 receivers, but are we not going to talk about that national championship game against Georgia? Like, he threw two picks, and one of them was a horrible pick that got taken back to the house. Like, it's man, it's not like, I get it that you want to be biased towards your own team, but that's just not correct. Like, at least even just statistically speaking. Now, did he have them in the game for a little bit? Sure, yeah, 100%. But like, he did not have, like, he was not perfect. He had a couple of bad games in college. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Um, so to fill in these next 2 minutes, because I always try and keep myself in the 20-minute area, just so y'all know. Like, how about the fact that how about let's take a look back at like Will Levis. Like, this dude was projected to be gone and out of the league by, maybe not out of the league, but like off of the Titans by like next year or something. Because like Malik had outplayed him in training camp, or quote unquote outplayed, even though if you looked at the training camp results from Jim Wyatt, you would see that like Will Levis was probably the overall better quarterback. But like, he was buried behind Malik Willis after he got hurt, and um, it just didn't look like that there was anywhere to go for Will Levis. But hey, whenever you hit rock bottom, there's only one way left to go, and he went up. He went very high up in that Falcons game, and yeah, now Malik is going to be the guy that's probably going to be off the team next year. I'm not too sure what's going to happen with Tannehill. He may end up just going to go start for like some team that's dying for a veteran quarterback, or even just a backup, or even just a good backup. Like, um, So yeah, okay, so I'm gonna wrap up this episode right now. So I have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. All three of them are under the same handle as my YouTube channel, The Titans Rundown. Also, for the people that that are listening on podcasting, I also have a YouTube channel where I post shorts and whatnot. So anyway, um, also, I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. This whole YouTube thing is a lot more of a grind than I expect. YouTube and podcasting thing is a lot more of a grind than I expected. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to do it all for me. This has been a rundown of your terrible but have a bright future Tennessee Titans. I love y'all, and tighten up.